Welcome to the MSDW podcast. I'm Jason Gumpert, editor at msdynamicsworld.com. My guest on this episode is Lipi Sarkar. She is a program delivery lead at consulting firm CloudSource, and she's also the co-author of the upcoming book, Building a Digital Future, the Transformational Blueprint for Innovating with Microsoft Dynamics 365. I really enjoy learning about new books written for the Microsoft Business Applications community, and I think this one is unique because of its focus on some of the strategic challenges that surround technology decisions. Lipi and I discuss what she learned from customers who shared their stories for the book, as well as some of the leadership and organizational challenges that the book deals with, and how it all aligns with the direction Microsoft has taken with Dynamics and the Power Platform. All right, well, Lipi Sarkar, thank you so much for joining me today.
It's a great pleasure, Jason. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, I'm interested to learn a little more about you and about the new book that's coming out soon that you've been doing quite a bit of publicity for and building awareness of. Really a work that I've been seeing a little bit and hearing a little bit about for quite a few months now, between you and your co-author, Vinnie Bansal. Can you tell us, just to start, maybe a little bit more about who you are and what led you to work on this book, and then we'll dive into maybe more of the topics.
Sure, Jason. Me, Lipi Sarkar, I have been working in an industry for 20 years, leading and managing digital transformation programs with many technologies, but primarily what sticks out is Microsoft Dynamics 365, because that has got so much of different industries wrapped around it as part of the solution: professional services, retail, insurance, commercial housing, healthcare. So all of these different sectors I've worked on, but I found Dynamics 365 was a solution that could actually address all different industry. I've worked for a big four firm. I've also worked for a UK charity organization, and also a system solution-based consulting organization. And my co-author, Vinnie, he has worn many hats in his career as business analyst, function consultant, project manager, and solutions director. So we thought, when we connected, we thought it would be great to bring our industry experience and our knowledge, because we have seen from end to end, really, starting from the inception of the project to operations. And the other side also, we have led many pre-sales work. So it's quite a lot of experience, and hence we thought, how about bringing that experience and combining with some more experience from industry thought leaders in a form of a book.
Yeah, I think for you and what I know of your experience, as you mentioned, you've worked for kind of a range of different types of companies that touch on Microsoft technology, from bigger consulting firms to smaller ones, right? So you've seen it used or worked on, I guess, teams that range in how they maybe operate in this space.
Absolutely. And to be honest, when I started in the industry, and at that point in time, obviously, we didn't refer any kind of transformation as digital transformation, even though we have been doing quite a lot in long time back. But nowadays, as we are maturing in the industry, and now we are seeing the shapes and in different formats, and how we can actually transform the business, the ways of working, and that we do in any industry, and how technology can change the whole perspective. So that's a wide, it's a vast change, and it's really interesting phase to be in at this moment in time.
Just to maybe, I don't want to, date your experience too much, but does your experience go as far back as the times when people were carrying CDs or DVDs into customer sites and, installing software on servers like mine does?
Oh, yes,
okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, in those times, that was not the idea of digital transformation was not really a topic I can think back to hearing in those days. And jumping forward now, so going from these on-premises solutions to sort of this evolution. Was there a point where you really decided that this is the time to really take stock of what has changed in the space and why this is sort of markedly different and a real a real change that we need to document and write about here, capture?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would like to talk about what really inspired us when we started thinking about it. Since I've got experience of working in different kind of industries, and so is Vinny. So when we were connected, I think we had primarily three reasons of why we thought of writing this book. Firstly, Vinny and I were discussing about an exciting idea about this book, which will share our experience of industry and knowledge of digital transformation with Dynamics 365, combining with the journey of customers, and which is very important because if we can bring the customers who has recently been through the implementation of Dynamics 365, transforming their business, that would be an interesting, path-breaking knowledge and information to share with. So that was one of the very interesting idea we thought to start the book with. Secondly, when we have researched about different types of books in the market, we found many books, very well written books on both digital transformation and on Dynamics 365. But we have not seen any book in the market that effectively covers bridging the challenges of digital transformation with Dynamics 365. So we felt strongly about launching our book, Building a Digital Future. And the reason why we thought this was the time, because now we are talking about moving on to cloud. And then COVID 19 happened, which was like a digital transformation of 2 years actually accelerated in 2 months, really. And a number of factors happened. All of a sudden, people started working remotely, reduction in staff, consumer demands either increased or decreased based on different kind of industries, shortages in supply chain. So we thought of, there are a lot of experiences out in our industry with the Dynamics 365, and how can we bring all this information, all these experiences about digital transformation. So we have reached out to many organizations covering various sectors like manufacturing, services, airline travel, logistics, global retailer, a pharmaceutical, well, across the globe really. And COVID 19, since it happened over across worldwide, and we had different experiences to share within this book. And it's not about talking about just what they have done. So when we researched and interviewed all this organization, we started to know about what the challenges they have faced and what are the key solutions they have brought together. And finally, what was outcome? What were the benefit that they have given to their business transforming with digital transform with Dynamics 365? Some organizations were prior to the curve. They have already done their transformation, their implementation, and they were just at the right point in time where they could actually use and leverage all the capabilities of Dynamics 365. And so, hence, I mean, this is the right time. It is perfect in timing because, not to say that how much we have lost, all the businesses have, so much has gone through, but at the same time, it's a lot of learnings that has happened within 1 year.
Yeah, a lot of some winners and some losers. I don't know if that's the right terminology to put in, but companies that have benefited, I guess you would say, their companies have grown. They've maybe they've reimagined the way they work for the better, and others who have really struggled, I imagine. Did you see that in any of the companies that you talked to, and did any of the companies, like your conversations that you and interviews that you did any of them like bridge the beginning and the end of not the end, but the beginning and before and after the beginning of the pandemic?
Before pandemic, yes, we have seen companies who were thinking about, they have got it ready. They were about to deploy it. They didn't stop the deployment due to COVID. They were reduced in staff, but what they could do is remotely. And since this is all in cloud, it happened like the deployment was much easier and it went through very smoothly. And during COVID, and some businesses that are mainly about, I will say, the global retailers, they could actually transform their business remotely very soon. They were all geared up for that, so they were ready. It was unfortunate due to COVID 19, but I think the businesses, the global retailers, were able to transform their business remotely and managed to operate in those really difficult and challenging time. So one aspect, I would say, and one end of the spectrum, there were global retailers who were having this, they could transform their business. And the other hand, there were big manufacturers and other industries who were who had already gone through the transformation, and during this period of time they could actually leverage it. So all they have to do is connect their customers with chatbots, with different capabilities that we have with Dynamics 365.
When you think about who you were writing this book for, did you have a particular profile or set of profiles in mind of who could really get the most out of this book?
It's a very interesting question, Jason. And before I touch upon the point, I'd like to just talk about what usually, not the readers, but what usually happens in the industry. It's about the transformers dilemma. And the dilemma is more about any incumbent who's going through the dilemma about how to maintain their profitability in the legacy business while reaping the full potential of the new digital ecosystem business. So it's all about, is it a right time, or do we need to bring in a lot of experienced people? Do we have the right talent in the business? Is it the right time? So all these things combined together, we thought of bringing that, how our digital building a digital future book will cover this dilemma and introduce the elements of digital transformation, which will help people to understand the basics of what need to be done in terms of preparing their organization, because that is a very key element, how to prepare your own organization and bring your workforce. Do you want to really bring your workforce and keep them, motivate them, empower them? So I would say anybody, the readers of this book will be a C-suite leaders thinking about digital transformation to improve efficiency or optimization within their business. Senior managers or directors, program director, business directors who are planning to execute digital transformation with Dynamics 365 or Power Platform. Then business analysts or consultants who are also aiming to be part of the digital transformation program. Then operation manager, who could be either part of the supplier chain, or it could be organization, or it could be partner, who is accountable and actually to support the technology post implementation. So all this readers will fit into the category. They will really find it powerful and useful to read this book. And any other person who is really curious about digital transformation, want to know more. So thinking about that, we also thought about our aspiration of this book is to reach out to business management students who want to start their career in digital transformation, but haven't got any industry experience. They don't know where to start. So that will be also know it all kind of book.
Yeah, and I wonder how many people will read this kind of who are new to Microsoft's business application suite, as opposed to people who are very familiar with it and looking for sort of an executive management perspective, versus who are saying, well, I need to learn what Microsoft has to offer in this space compared to competitors. Because like you said, business books, when they're C-suite focused or business strategy focused, they don't tend to also overlay a particular product. It's been done, certainly, but not as often. So the term digital transformation's been around for a while. I think it means different things to different people. Did you come away from all the work that's gone into this book with any new insights on the value of the term, its meaning to different people?
Yeah, that's really an interesting question, because digital transformation, yes, definitely mean different to different people. So one end of the spectrum is digital transformation could be, is it an upgrade of my system, or is it bringing in new technologies? But what we have unfolded in this book is about preparing your organization, getting ready for what is your change, what are the business change, what are the drivers that you are focusing on, what need to be transformed. Is it mean the organization need to be more efficient? Do you need to optimize your own system, or have you thought about your own workforce? Do you want to bring your workforce together, and how to empower your workforce? So all of this, and about the change management, how do you bring your change management, and do you really want to, do you have your capability internally to actually transform the business? So it's unfolding all of these things, all of the different factors as digital transformation would do. And change is a big part. Any kind of transformation doesn't go hand in hand if it's not usually adopted. If it is universally adopted, then we can say that it is really effective. So we have kind of unfolded all the different aspects in this book.
All right. One of the things I've noted just in the last, well, that really just happened in the last week or a few days was some work in the within Microsoft itself on sort of reorganizing the way it represents its solutions in specifically inside a group that's now called the Digital Transformation Platform Group. It includes Dynamics 365 and Power Platform, but also some Azure services, Azure AI Platform, data, IoT, the new industry cloud push, all sort of under the oversight of James Phillips, who had already been in charge of Dynamics 365 and Power Platform. I mean, to me, that signals. I was actually a little surprised that was the name they gave the group. I think it sort of organizationally is important and I think I understand sort of what the intent of it is, but I don't know. Do you see anything looking into the future now that sort of Microsoft positions Dynamics 365 with these additional sort of segments of its Azure service offerings, kind of organizationally now under the same management?
I think it is a very interesting phase to see the new transformation because it's all about the change and digitally making it, enabling it from Microsoft aspect. And it's not about any system anymore. It's about encompassing everything. It's about change. It's about organization. It's about empowering the workforce. So Azure Cloud, all bringing it together. So it's definitely an interesting step by Microsoft.
Yeah, the thing I'm particularly interested to see is if and how it sort of changes some of the, I don't know, business priorities that some of these Azure platforms work toward. Will the services that come out of the AI platform be more focused or more aligned with priorities that the D365 product teams are also focused on, even if they're meant to sort of stay separate? Will they be more strategically aligned or sort of in their vision of the future for the company? So that certainly an interesting change. I think it'll take quite a while, years, I would say, to really fully be understood from the outside. But yeah, certainly an interesting one.
Absolutely.
Anyway, maybe getting back to some of your work. I thought one of the most interesting parts of the work you've done on the book was some of these interviews and some of the findings from customers, from organizations that have used Microsoft systems. Some of them are probably well known if you pay attention to Microsoft and their sort of reference customers in the business app space. Some of them I recognize: J&J, Pepsi, Breville. I know there were quite a few others as well. Any particular stories that stand out to you or that really surprised or impressed you?
I would say, yeah, definitely. That's we have come across, and when we reached out to the companies like G&J, Pepsi Cola, you have mentioned, they have leveraged the capabilities of Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power BI. They did not have to rely on external consultants or professional developers. With the low code platform of Power Apps, their business employees have resolved many business challenges. And that's quite interesting. So, some of the examples were like Parking App was a solution created to help warehouse and sales team assign parking spots and drivers to receive the information about the parking spot. Um, Another story is about Heathrow Airport. Well, there are many apps that has been created with the Power Apps, so that was definitely to look out for. We have tried to unravel in terms of what are the different kind of apps they have created, and this is about this COVID-19 happened, people went into furlough, so a lot of employees could reuse their time, could uh, empower themselves with the capability that Power Platform can provide. And on the other hand of the spectrum, we have seen like Tillamook, Stay Michelle, Breville Group, Michael Hill. So these are all different type of retailers, e-commerce fulfillment. They have minimal impact on the consumers, but they also manage to, with the capabilities of Dynamics 365, they have managed to continue with the business.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing I'm really looking forward to learning, through this book and just into going into the future is sort of the theme of how Power Platform has changed the nature of the way companies invest in technology. So I think it's changing the nature to some extent of how customization is done, for example, on top of standardized products from Microsoft on top of a Dynamics 365 sales or project operations or whatever. The customization story is a lot different, but the sort of customer-owned development story, like what a company can actually build for themselves versus hiring out, is also changing, and the kind of skills they need internally to make that happen.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's not going to go out, but in terms of the capabilities of the Power Platform, that's definitely give a wider reach to the employees, and they can resolve a lot of business values. And that doesn't mean that the SIs or the business doesn't need external partners to develop solutions or to carry on implementing. But it's an interesting phase because there is Dataverse that has come out, and then Power BI with how to build a data culture within the organization and how to use the Power Automate and um, Power Apps. And that will be really useful to see how these capabilities are built into.
So I know that this book has been an effort over quite a few months. I remember first hearing from Vinnie about it. I don't even remember how long ago now, but several months ago. And even at that point, it was already well underway. Can you talk a little bit more about what's gone into your view of sort of the effort that went into this? Was it what you expected? I don't know if have you written any other books? I wasn't actually sure about that, but yeah, what your experience has been like.
No, this is my first book, and I really wanted to write something about digital transformation. And the reason why it was really interesting, it has got a far outreach. So when we started writing about the book, and it's not about just our experience and industry leaders, we wanted to combine that with the customer experiences at the same time. And you will find in the book there will be each and every chapter will have quotes from industry leaders, experts, and the collaborators are there, contributors are there. So definitely in the form of case studies and customer stories. So, but it has a far outreach, and we're really immensely grateful in terms of we have found a community through this book. It has created a path on its own. It has, we found an advisory team, as we can say, that which has helped us in terms of moving beyond what we really intended to start with. But it has gone beyond and above, and we have evolved along with this book and how it has shaped up. Um, so that's really huge, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, a big effort for sure. And you've at the same time been working on, I assume delivering, projects on behalf of your clients at the same token, or at the same time. I don't know, any observations there on sort of balancing that? It must be a full day. A full day and trying to make progress in both areas, serving your clients and
Yeah,
pushing
and
your book
it
forward.
is. It is busy in its way because we are both working. But what has also helped while writing this book, I think three things again I would like to really shout out about: listening in, and refining and readjusting. But when we tried to write the book, and in terms of the wider community, just we mentioned about getting the feedback and listening to this feedback, in the industry, the same thing happens. So when we try to reach out, and the change management again is a big part where you try to listen to the feedback and to readjust. You cannot have a plan and execute the plan, and that's it. It's a uh, good scenario. Everything is done and dusted. Successful transformation. A lot of things happen when you listen and readjust and work through the plan. It's not about shifting the plan or shifting the goalpost. It's more about how you can transform the business, how you can keep the lights on, but at the same time, you're transforming the business, which will be creating a lot of changes because it's real time processes. It's real employees involved into that. So it's a lot of those effort. I think that has really helped us. Personally, me, I would say definitely because um, through this book that has created its journey, and we have learned quite a lot.
All right, excellent. Well, I know it's a May 25th release date, right? Available now for pre-order. Very good. Well, I wish you and Vinnie the best of luck in the release. I'm sure it'll go great, and it's a book that really does, I think, provide a unique perspective and a unique way of thinking about what's available and what's possible in this space. Anything else you wanted to add before we get going here?
No, thank you, Jason. That was really lovely to talk to you. While talking about this book, it has, refreshed my memories in terms of how we started the journey, and it's delightful to see that we finally towards the end of this journey, and really excited about 25th of May and our book release.
Well, thanks again.
Thank you very much, Jason. Cheers.
This has been another episode of the MSDW podcast. My thanks to Lipi for joining. We have links in the description for finding out more about the book around the world, including a way to get 10% off your copy. And that's it for this episode. If you want to get in touch with me, you can reach me by email, jgumpert@msdynamicsworld.com. You can also follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter. Until next time, this is MS Dynamics World, signing off.